views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome to Phantom Science, the podcast, where we discuss how to prove it's not just all in your head. Does the paranormal exist? If it does, how does it work? And how do we gather solid indications and data? During this podcast, we will be discussing things that many people may hold near and dear to themselves. If you feel offended at any point, just take a deep breath and think about the thing that offended you. Because we will be playing the role of the recently declawed Office of Devil's Advocate. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, and thank you very much for listening.
Good evening and welcome to Phantom Science. This is pre-recorded. There's a big, horrible, hairy snowstorm came through where we're at in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Nico couldn't make it into the secret lab where we're broadcasting from. I screwed up on the Skype a little bit, so his voice is kind of echoey. But apart from that, we've got new equipment. Hopefully this quality is a lot better than our first one. Tonight we are talking about ghost boxes or spirit boxes, or some people call them portals. Basically, it's a broken radio. What do you think, Nico?
I've used these devices for a little while, and sometimes I don't really know what to think. I don't know what could be coming through. Sometimes things fit what we're asking, but other than that, I'm kind of on the fence about them sometimes.
Well, I got a love-hate relationship with them because I didn't think they were ever going to work. I'm like, well, voices coming out of a radio. Who would have thought it? And then when I play with one, I was getting, we were getting, because you were there too, we were getting too many answers that were relevant to either the surroundings or the questions. And so we keep using them, which irritates the crap out of me.
I mean, like you said, some of them, we get responses that have a lot to do with what we're talking about and the places that we're at. And, I mean, you can't really ignore that. I mean, what are the chances of that on radio,
Yep. And I'll be honest with you. I mean, when we first started, we used the SB7, and which is really annoying. And it's really easy to pick up words you think you want to hear because they're so garbled. Since then, we've actually built our own, which is nice. It's much clearer. Before we go on, though, I want to, anybody that's been to Edinburgh, there's a spirit that lives in the basement that people have called the Joker. So they're on top of, a lot of people say, well, when you go, you can sometimes bring them home. And I never believed that. But lately, I've been hearing the Joker.
Bull crap.
And he keeps butting in on stuff. So if you hear him, it's just
nice
the Joker.
Nice to see you.
Oh, shut up, Joker.
I think not.
All right. Anyway, so getting back to the spirit box, I'd like to go over. I mean, everybody in this field is. Well, Nico, have you ever heard of Frank's box?
No, I have not.
Okay. That was Frank Sumption. And a lot of people, call him the father of the spirit box, or some go back to Edison. So what I'd like to do at the beginning here is just go through an actual history of, and I'm going to go back to, it kind of starts with technology. I guess the first one was before Edison, and they might have been at the same time, because the one I'm pulling is Tesla, who used to work for Edison, and they played with the same kind of stuff. I'm going to start with Nikola Tesla, who actually remarked upon it when he was building crystal radios and stuff like that. And I'm going to play a clip, and you tell me what you think that this sounds like. What do you think, Nico?
Sounds like hell. No.
Sounds like a bathroom in a subway somewhere.
Honestly, it sounds like when you're in the other room on a phone call in a huge auditorium, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Besides all the weird hisses and stuff like that.
Yeah. And, well, I'll tell you what Tesla thought of it, and I've got his notes here. And he says, the sounds I am listening to every night appear to be human voices conversing back and forth in a language I cannot understand. But then he goes on to add, I find it difficult to imagine I am actually hearing real voices of people not from this planet. And that was done in 1918. Here's the thing. So that basically is the start of people hearing things over radio. And you have to remember, back in the day of Tesla, there was no radio stations. That is just natural radio waves being picked up by his crystal radio.
That's really interesting.
Now, did you hear any voices in that? Any words?
Not really. I mean, I'm sure if you listen to it closer, maybe you could, but I didn't on the first listen. So.
All right, I'm gonna play it again. Hang on. Now, see if you can pick out any words. Get any?
No, not on my end anyway.
Me neither. So, I tell you something though. It does sound like somewhere where there's loads of people talking, and in there's like the sound of glass breaking, maybe.
Yeah.
You know? Now, if you imagine back in the day, you just built this crystal radio and you got bad out of it, what would you think? Remember going back to
turn it off.
It's scaring me. I can't sleep. I need to
Even
drink.
radio.
More vodka, please.
Hey, we do the same thing. If you downloaded an app today and it did that, what would you think? Virus?
I think it was a con.
And you delete it.
Yeah, pretty much. So anyway, that's like the first example I could find. And then at the same time, and here's a big one in going forward, like people like Chris Moon and such like, they all refer back to Edison because he was reputed to build a machine that you could talk to the dead with. Now, do you think he built one? A lot of people do.
I mean, not really.
I mean, Tesla used to work for Edison. Now, going through the history, Edison was spiritual, and a lot of people hooked that together with he built a machine to talk to the dead. However, what he actually said in my research, so the October edition in 1920 of the Scientific American, the quote is actually, "I have been thinking for some time of a machine or apparatus which could be operated by personalities which has passed on to another existence or sphere." Now, for me, the main point of that, I have been thinking for some time. Now, here's the thing. If he did get around to doing it, there are no plans or patents or prototypes of any such machine. And Edison patented the crap out of everything, even when it wasn't his work. So, you think they built one?
I mean, I guess it could be possible. I mean, but, probably not.
Well, if he did build it, and it worked, don't you think there'd be a mention in history or somewhere about it? Or do you think it's a big...
Yeah. But, too, I mean, there are people who who claim to build things like that all the time that doesn't actually work. You know what I mean? I mean,
well, we don't know if they work. I guess where I'm going with this is that's used as a claim to latch science onto something someone's doing, like we talked about in the last episode. If you attach Edison's name to it, then it must work.
Yeah. I mean, that could be.
Come on.
I'm trying.
Well, so here's the thing. So Tesla really wasn't, as far as I did some digging, he wasn't really into the spiritualist movement, although he did fall in love with a pigeon. But, honestly,
I feel like I need to do more research about it. Like, you know so much about it more than I do. I don't really know a lot about it,
Wow, come on. You see Tesla fell in love with a pigeon somewhere on the web. You just got to read it. It's like, did they have an egg together? We'll see Tesla on the Jerry Springer show with an egg. So...
It's not mine.
Well, we did a DNA test, Mr. Tesla, and guess what? It's got Serbian DNA. So that's what I call kind of the beginning step of talking to the dead via radio waves and stuff like that. And also, it's also the beginning of EVPs, where there is no radio and things like that. It's just the idea that spirits can talk to you through electronics and all that good stuff. So, that's kind of where I was at with that. Now, I kind of like, and I'll be doing this, I'll be drawing comparisons between the people that claim they could do it and the people that kind of just discovered it and said, that's weird, and it might be, but... And a lot of them have a background in being spiritualist or not, is what I've discovered. So, Edison's thinking about making one because he's a spiritualist. Tesla actually has a machine that does these like weird voices and says, it's difficult to imagine I'm actually hearing real voices of people not from this planet. So, to me, that kind of stood out, or not.
Yeah, and you know what, too? I mean, if it had gone if they had gotten something, really crazy from it, we'd hear something about it, wouldn't we? You know what I mean? If we had gotten somebody saying, oh, so-and-so is going to die at this time, or any type of real communication other than random sounds and kind of muffled noises like that, we'd have something, wouldn't we?
It's a government conspiracy, maybe.
Or
a conspiracy on the other side. I'll be honest, I've heard lots of EVPs or, spirit box radios where they're kind of scared of answering or saying they can't answer and stuff like that. So, if we're going to say, okay, this may be spirits, then, there may be a conspiracy that they're only allowed, they're not allowed to give out too much. So, I don't know. But to me, that's one step too far. First, I got to figure out, are they really spirits? So,
yeah, honestly.
And there's a guy a bit further down that kind of, there's a quote from him that I like, but we'll get to that. The next one along my ladder of doing the history, was in 1941. This was interesting to me. So, a guy called, I don't laugh at this name because I was like, what the hell? His name is Attila von it's got a Z in it, so excuse me if I screw it up. Soleil. So his name was Attila von Soleil. So you've got Mongolian, German, and I guess Soleil's like Czech or something.
I hope he did something really important.
Well, he had a name like that. That's important. So he must have had 3 parents. Anyway, he tried, when it came out, so he tried to record voices on the 78 RPM, the old gramophone records?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he tried recording them on those. He started about in 1941 and never had any success. And I love this guy's perseverance. So he had absolutely bugger all nothing. But then he finally got success in 1956.
Oh, wow.
But he used reel-to-reel magnetic tape. The old reel-to-reel machines?
Yeah.
And that kind of stood out to me in that it's magnetic. electromagnetism and everything.
Yeah.
Which is getting closer to the theory of, modern spirit boxes. So, using electromagnetic energy. So I kind of plucked that guy out. And plus, I love his name. So the next guy I want to get to, which is interesting to me, this guy was actually an academic, so he wasn't a spiritualist. And in 1959, Friedrich Jürgensen, who was a Viking, horny little bugger, he went out recording bird songs, because I guess that's what he liked to do. But while he was out, he recorded a voice in Norwegian talking about bird songs at night. And he said before he got the voice, there was hissing and static, which, wasn't there. Then he heard, I can't remember the bird he said, and then when it stopped, it went back to the normal bird songs. So, in him being an academic, I mean, not that I am, but at least he did what I'd do. He'd go, what in the hell was that? And go out and do it more.
Right.
So he found that the more frequently he recorded, the clearer the messages became, which is kind of what we do with a spirit box, because I hate it. I mean, we do. But we use it a lot now. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, we do. I mean, especially when we get things in context. You know what I mean? That's it does help. I mean, it's a way of getting audio.
Yeah, and it's proactive. Instead of just sitting and waiting for something to go off, you can actually try to interact. Whether you are or not is up for debate. What I like about this guy, when he was getting them, his initial thought was that it was aliens. He didn't say, "Oh, it's ghosts." He thought it was aliens. Until, and remember, this guy is not a spiritualist, right? But then he got a message that said, "Friedel, can you hear me? It's Mammy."
Oh,
and Friedel was his pet name when he was a kid to his mum. So that thoroughly convinced him that it was ghosts. That's the thing. He thought it was aliens.
You said he was Viking, right?
Yeah. Wow. In 1959, as Viking as it gets.
I mean, but there's some history there if that's something that he's claiming to be.
Yeah,
I mean?
the first voice he heard was in Norwegian. If it's ghosts, do they stay local? Are you local?
Yeah. Are you a local ghost?
This is a local shop for locals. Are you local?
Do you Airbnb?
So I guess, that guy kind of stood out to me because he went on and, he just dinked with it and got what he could from it, and he wrote a couple of books or co-wrote with and all that kind of stuff. So that one stood out to me as less hokum and more, hey, what the hell is this kind of thing.
Well, yeah, because he wasn't even, he just kind of stumbled upon it, honestly, and he tried to figure out, what it was, why, and, what is kind of interesting to me is that it got clearer and clearer the more he recorded. So, did it have something to do with the area? Was it directly connected to him? What's the history there? Why there?
Yeah, and I have no idea, but it's, like I say, it's something we do. We do it more and more, especially in places we go to more and more often, and the Granger House being the big one, because we do get, in context there, a huge amount. So, I love that place.
Yeah, and we're not just saying that because we know them. Like, that is where we've gotten a majority of our stuff in context, so it's huge.
That is true. We're getting closer to today, how we do this stuff today. So, now, in 1974 is my next jump, and the guy is called Marcello Bacci. And now, this guy is a spiritualist, so he got onto this idea in 1949 when he went to a seance in London. And he started pissballing around with radios, I guess. And now, this guy's different in that he tunes his radio to shortwave, and it's between 7 and 9 megahertz. And he also, I don't know if anyone's heard of this, but it's called direct radio communication. That is that there's none of this hiss, there's none of this, I can't quite make it out stuff, supposedly. It is direct communication through radio. And that there are, if you look on the interwebs, There are people that do that think, the normal ghost box stuff is crap. What they do is brilliant. Because he would sit down and then he said after 10 to 20 minutes, the background noise would disappear. And you can hear the voices clearly. So that is an experiment. Do you not think?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Do that. And anybody listening?
I said, yeah, definitely. I definitely think we should try that.
So, and here's the thing. So, what we have at hand mostly is AM/FM radios that we sweep through, and we have to break them to make them do what we want. There is a thing called software-defined... put my teeth in. So,
Bull crap.
shut up, Joker. There is a thing called software-defined radio, which is USB. You plug it into your computer, and you can control basically all the frequencies. Whether it's AM, FM, way out there listening to aircraft, way low, you have full control of the frequencies. So we've got one of those, and I think we're going to do that experiment of somewhere between 7 and 9 and sit and wait and see if that goes away and you just start hearing voices. So
yeah, that'd be amazing. Wow.
So there you go. So a little digging, you can come up with experiments to do. Note to everybody out there, instead of doing the same thing over and over and over, go back and look and see, okay, these people have claimed to have success in a certain way. Let's go back and replicate it. Anyway,
Nonsense.
shut up, Joker. So now we're moving into around 2002. And this is the modern era and this is how the ghost boxes we use right now came about, is a guy called Frank Sumption. Once again, I said, I distinguished were they spiritualists going into it. Now, Frank was an EVP collector. He was an EVP collector and a ham radio operator. And he found when the interwebs was young, and he probably waited like 2 hours for it to download. Do you remember the old, you're probably too young, the old dial-up
No,
AOL?
I remember just a bit of it, like where, watching full web page come into existence. Little bits at a time.
So I remember way back then someone said, you can get porn on the internet. I was like, really? So I went to the address he gave me, and it took like 2 hours for that bloody picture to download, and I wasn't in the mood by then. I was like, fuck it, I'm done.
Oh, man.
Anyway, Frank, on the old AOL, I'm guessing, he found a Danish researcher of the name of Stein, and he was researching Batchy's stuff, the guy we just talked about. Oh, by the way, yeah. I've got a clip of Batchy. Hang on a minute.
Oh, we should play it.
Now, you got to remember, this guy's in Italy. He's Italian. And this is his direct radio communication. You ready?
Yep.
So, you got to remember that's Italian. So,
sounds like me when I leave a drunk voicemail.
But it is clear, and it hasn't got the because he's not going through the channels,
Yeah.
And before that there was nothing coming through. Let me play it one more time for you, because I clipped it just to make it a shorter clip, but there was nothing coming through at the beginning, and all of a sudden. What do you think?
Aliens.
So, I don't know, but a lot of people, and the other thing that he kind of claims, we're going back to Batchy now, not some. We'll come back to Frank, but he also says that they give him gifts to people. And I was watching this really old documentary video from I think it's the 70s or something, and they're all babbling on in Italian, but it's got subtitles, and. He says, oh, there's one, and he points to the ground, and there's something on the ground, but it was kind of like behind a curtain, which kind of I was like, really? Like, you might have put that there already, maybe.
What do you mean? Yeah. The first thing I thought was like, what gifts?
Well, he does. He's got boxes of gifts that they send to him and give to him. He's got like, and each of these characters have different interests. So he's got a box full of like pen knives because one of them used to collect pen knives in their past life, and stuff like that. So, he gets given roses and all kinds of stuff. So, and that's, I don't know. That to me that bends more towards a spiritualist than not. I don't know. The old 1800s. Hey, look, it's phlegm from a ghost. Ectoplasm. So, but that will be cool though. Yeah, ghosts giving you gifts.
You're right. Telling you the future or something. Yeah.
No, it's just like, hey, have you got any old money? You don't need it anymore. They're worth fortunes on collectors' markets now.
Right.
I'm going to learn to speak Latin. Talk to Romans. Hey, leave me a sesterces. So anyway, yeah, moving on to, like I tried to before, to Frank Sumption. And he created what's known, everybody knows in this as the Frank's box. And so he was an EVP collector and a radio ham. And he found on the webs, a researcher called Stein that was doing Batch's stuff, researching it. But this researcher used a sweep instead of a single signal. So that gave him the idea to do this, and he started with a car stereo, and he put in random voltage to it to make it pick different wavelengths. But of course, with a car radio, you're still AM or FM within that range.
Yeah.
And then that was his first model. And then later models had a linear sweep. And then later, he added the reverb. So then you get what we've got today, basically, which is an AM or FM radio sweeping through channels. So that is, So the Frank box is really the beginning of our modern ghost boxes. And I looked online. There are 97 Frank boxes in existence that he built. Each one looked after lovingly, because he's dead and he can't make any more. So, which, say again.
I would say, that's crazy how something like that even gets started. It makes you wonder, what did they get off of it? You know what I mean?
I think because he was an EVP collector and a ham radio operator, as an EVP collector, he's got to be used to sitting there trying to listen to discernible or sounds out of nothing or bits of background.
Yeah.
And if you imagine you're sitting on the ham radio after you've been looking for EVPs in something, or you're looking for EVPs on the ham radio, that's a natural progression to me.
Yeah.
If you're kind of like, now obviously he was in electronics, a lot of the ham radio guys were, because they used to build their own or fix their own and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Keep them going on the road, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, I'm guessing, that, to me that's a natural progression, but it's the other way around, the way I like to see it, in which they build something, they go, what, fuck, we're getting voices? What the hell's going on?
Yeah. Plus, too, then it kind of starts to fit what you believe in a little bit, Yeah. Like you said, he made something, that's what he wanted it to do, and, you can start hearing what you want out of it, kind of.
Yeah, or what you expect to hear is the thing. So, So I'm gonna play a clip that shouldn't be to anybody that's used spirit boxes. This is what we're dealing with. So you got to remember, if we go back to, let me play Butchies. So this is single wave. So that doesn't sweep. If you get voices, they natter on. Well, he's in Italian, which makes me feel like I want a pizza now. And now we've got, from Frank's box that does the sweeping, we got things that sound like this. What you guys doing? Working? Now, what are you laughing at?
I remember that night. We're standing in a carriage house going, what are you guys doing? Drinking? All right. Woohoo.
That's the one where it said whiskey later on, too, isn't it?
Yeah.
What are you drinking? Whiskey!
It was 2 a.m. and we were thinking, I could take a drink.
I was cold, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was at the Grange house, funny enough.
Yep.
And the coach house. So anyway, try not to bore the crap out of people. I'm just trying to do the evolution of where we came from. If you go, remember all the way back to Tesla, just picking up random waves when there were no radio stations. Now we've got the SB7 that clips through and picks up radio stations and chops them up into pieces that, maybe, and we'll get to the theory in a minute, but that's what ghosts use now to communicate. So, that's
or
how we
aliens.
got from... Say again?
Or aliens.
Aliens? Yeah, I mean, how do we know it's ghosts? But also, that's also what we're looking for. Does that make a difference? Is it all pareidolia, where we're just making out what we want to hear? Well,
Sometimes you start to think that, in some situations. And then in others, it is so clear. And you find yourself thinking, okay, how could that be anything else? What is that,
Yeah, that's true. And here's the thing is, it's for me, it slices both ways. So when we're out there, and we're all hyped up, and we've got things in our head. It's just the way the human psyche works, and it's going off. And you're trying to understand it, and you'll hear something that sounds like something that's in your head, and you'll be like, "Oh, they said such and such," So, and then when we go back and we do. We actually listen over everything properly, quietly, with headphones on or whatever. You'll find out that's not what they said. But on the flip side of that, you'll hear things that are relevant that you didn't ask for. Or you did ask for and you didn't hear it in real time because you couldn't understand it, and you go back and listen to it, and there it is, plain as day, and you've got less pareidolia in your head. I just yodeled.
When you're by yourself with nothing but headphones on, you're like, oh man, what was that?
So, and I think, the SB7 does the job, but I hate that white noise. And we'll get to that in the theory, but, it makes it so hard and to hear anything clearly, and so easy to misrepresent what's actually coming out, So, but that's, that came from the Frank Box sweep. And, what do you think? Does it get on your nerves, the SB7?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, when you're really trying to make something out real time, yeah. And, for me, it all sounds like garbled up stuff sometimes. But then you get the really, really clear ones that I like the white noise because, when something comes through so clear, even over that white noise, you're like, what was that? Wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't listen to it for too long on that staccato.
Yeah.
It gives you a headache. It just keeps hammering at you and hammering at you. It's like, oh my God. And I take it in small bursts.
I mean, like I did the other night when I was reviewing our Edinburgh footage, I was like, we need to listen to this together. I can't do it. I couldn't make anything out in the pool room. I was like,
Yeah. And it's a skill. Some people are very good at it. And some people are like, I don't hear anything. I know Eric, a member of that group, he hates it. He won't.
Yeah.
See Eric's face would say, hey, let's do a spirit box session.
Yeah, okay.
Oh God, I'm bored. So, that's basically the history of the spirit box, which, I'm sorry if I bored any of you. I apologize, but I found the clips interesting and the progression interesting to, where we came from and how we got to where we are. Now then, here's the bit where I'm going to have a little bit of fun. Because now we have a lot of people, well, not a lot, I can think of two straight off the top of my head, that use this and abuse the crap out of it. Instead of being interested, is it, they just abuse the absolute living daylights out of it.
Yeah.
Can you guess who I'm talking about?
Make a product off of it, you know what I mean? Chris Moon.
Yeah, he's one. So what he's done is he's melded, in my opinion, he might be real, but he's melded. So that aspect of it, and the psychic aspect of it, and remember I said to, people that are psychic, we're not knocking or disbelieve you, but there's a lot of people out there that I think are absolute frauds, and it's like this guy has taken the radio box, and then he does his technician's assist and turns it on. And then he'll interpret the words for you.
It is something that you can learn. It is a skill that you can learn to manipulate people, just like magicians. I'm sure if I sat down really hard and studied on it, I could do it too. You know what I mean? It's something you can learn. It's sleight of hand, trick of the mind.
I've done it. I've done it fucking around with people. I've turned it on and go, and then before the word even ends, I'll say what it is because they only catch the beginning because I'm talking over it, kind of deal. Yeah. Or if it's
once you're controlling the situation and you get enough information, you can control that whole situation with words and narrative and what they want. Yep. You know what I mean? Especially too, you already know they want it. If someone's paid that much money for him to come and sit down with them, they want something. They want something,
And you're preaching to the choir because they already believe.
They're already primed. Yeah.
So he's managed to take the psychic, the technology, and then if you ever watch him, there's a lot of theater involved too. So he's mashed them all together, and here's the thing that otherwise I wouldn't give a shit. That's fine. He's another one running around doing that kind of thing. There's lots of them, but he charges. Right? Now, remember, the people that go to him are usually bereaved or vulnerable or whatever. Okay? Yeah. He charges, for his psychic abilities, $175 for 20 minutes.
No way.
Now, I had to learn IT and everything. I can't charge that much. For reality.
20 minutes, though? Like, not even an hour? Just 20 minutes?
$175 for 20 minutes. So... Can you imagine vulnerable people that go there and, for some people, I say some people, for everybody, that's a lot of fucking money.
See, that even validates what I just said. Like, they're already ready. If someone is willing to pay that much money for 20 minutes, they've got something that they need or want, or they have a problem. You know what I mean? Well, something they can't let go, something that's affected them, whatever it may be. They're willing to pay that for 20 minutes.
And obviously people that have that kind of problem that are trying to grieve properly do not need that as a healing process. In fact, it becomes an addiction. It's a mental addiction. They go, I talk to, insert name here. And, I talk to my husband and I want to talk to him again because I need to ask him about something, and then off they go. And it's another $175, And you don't get 20 minutes of conversation.
That's something that they tell themselves too, like, oh, it helped, but then, a couple months down the road, oh, I really need that again. You know what I mean?
Heroin. I could stop if I want.
Yeah.
Can't I?
Just one more question.
Go to the Betty Ford clinic. So, but there is hope, because if you just want his ventriloquist radio to talk to you, it's only $75 for 10 minutes. So you save time and money.
So you can actually, he'll bring his equipment and just let you listen to it.
You do it online or over the phone. He don't come to you.
Oh, wow.
Either of these, he don't come to you. You have to either go to him. I'm not even sure if I didn't see if that was available. I was just looking at the prices when my eyeballs fell out of my head.
I'm sure if he's coming to you, then it's going to be way more. But wow, so that's just online, like he Skypes you or something.
That $75 is interesting to me. Well, first off, it equates to like $450 an hour for his psychic readings. For his radio readings. And what's interesting to me is that number, $75, is about what an SB7 costs. So you could just buy one off Amazon and listen to it all fucking day, every day. And pick out the words you want to hear. I mean, if they wanted to get in contact with you and you turn on an SB7, wouldn't they do it? Is my question.
Yeah.
Why do you need him to have a ventriloquy?
Yeah, and you don't. If you stop and think about it, you don't. I mean, we do it.
I mean, if it's true, I'm not knocking a belief. I'm just applying logic to how does that work? You know.
We should pull up some money sometime and do a Skype session.
Call him up?
Yeah, call him up.
Just call him up.
Completely make up a situation. Oh, yeah, my grandma died.
You could. And you know what? If he said, this is bullshit, this is who you really are, and this is what you're doing, I will give him all the kudos in the world. Well, there you go. We got another experiment to do. That's another one.
We'll do that.
Yep, we will. We'll Skype.
Yeah, and we'll tape. We should tape it. We'll set up a camera in the back to tape it. That'd be great.
My name's Gomer, and I just lost my mama. So, it sounds like we're making fun. We're not. What I'm making fun of is him.
I kind of am.
And that's more respect than I'd like to give him, because I really do think he's in that he's in that psychic area where they're not really psychic, they're just feeding off it, but he's using a ventriloquist dummy in the form of a radio, so
I kind of want to say I'll show up and do it for half the price with my spirit box.
Yeah, I'll do it for free for 10 minutes.
Jeez, man, yeah.
Shit.
That is crazy.
I know. So that's one. So, we've gone through the history from Tesla and all these people, and even a lot of the spiritualists back then were actually serious about, what the bloody hell is this? I believe it's ghosts, but they're still going to look into it and, all that kind of stuff. To this dude. Now, the other one, do you know who the other one is?
No, who's the other one?
Is Steve Huff. Huff Paranormal.
Oh.
Now,
I've heard a little bit about that.
Yeah. So he is, by trade, a sound engineer. And he also claims to be psychic now. I don't think he used to in the beginning. In fact, he's gone to the Chosen One now. He calls himself the Chosen One because the spirits called him the Chosen One or something. And I know. You were supposed to be the Chosen One!
I'm sorry. I'm going to need a minute.
You were supposed to bring balance to the spirit box, not destroy it. So, now, here's the thing. So, he does these things called portals. And I was on Facebook the other day, and there was a post from another paranormal group, because he shows you kind of how to build them. Of course, they're not as good as his. But basically, all it is a little tinny guitar amp. And I know, and you've seen me build a couple of these at the beginning when I first started dabbling in these to build a portal. And it's a tinny guitar amp from China. It's about $20. There are two guitar effect pedals. One is a noise gate, which clips. And then the other one is reverb or echo, or, basically of your choice, how you want it to sound. Yeah, and then that's it. That's all that's in there. And then flashy lights that are sound activated. You buy those on Amazon for about $10. Yeah. And we've built two, I think, so far. And that's it. But then when you look at his, he also adds copper wires and crystals to it.
Well, he is the chosen one.
He is. It's like he's building. Don't they use crystals in the building lightsabers? I mean,
yeah.
You watch Star Wars.
That's the thing. In the games, you have to get certain crystals.
Yeah. So, I guess the thing is, I get indignant about it just because he's a flat-out fraud. And I've got proof of this. I'll play you the clips for in a minute. But not only that...
How dare you doubt the chosen one?
I know. But it's not just me that should get offended by it. Because here's the thing, is he's taken the belief of people that use crystals, for example. He just wires them into basically a guitar amp with a couple of effect pedals, and then calls it paranormal. So what he's really doing is he's making them look stupid too. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, just
what he's doing is obviously manipulative in many ways. But also too, he can't take all the credit. The people who just blindly believe in this,
there's tons.
Or why? There's got to be something going on.
Look at his YouTube channel subscribers and everything, and the comments. It's like, oh my god, are you kidding me?
And you probably get attacked for, being a non-believer and that kind of stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, no,
the hardcore.
I've seen people put bad comments on there and they just get avalanched to death afterwards. It's like, you're so close-minded, you haters, blip, 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 blip.
Is there a crystal for that?
We can change your mind with a yellow crystal.
Oh, wow.
So, that Steve Huff has used his chosen one powers on. On that post where the guy was building one, I looked at it and said, I remember being in that place. Seeing it and saying, oh, this is how you build it, and then we're going to do it. And I built a couple of them. And then, until I discovered, and I sent him a link, on Amazon, they sell a guitar amp that has everything built in that's in that portal for about 100 and something bucks. So it's a little tiny bit more than the pieces, except that you don't have to have... So each thing needs its own battery in Huff's version, and they're all plugged in, and you have to put it in something. This thing is all done. It takes 6 AA batteries, which last longer than those 9 volts do, and it sounds really great. It's I think Vox makes it. So you can do that. Now, if you still think, you can always glue a crystal to it if you think that's important, I mean, but it does exactly the same thing, but it does it better. You want to put blinky lights and a crystal on it, it's still the same thing under all that. So, but he sells them, they go for like $1,000. It's crazy money. I've seen them go for like $1,000 for his portals. And you know how he does it? Because he does interviews with dead people through it. And I'm going to play you a clip now of Steve Huff interviewing. It's a guy, I had never heard of him. He's called Little Peeps, apparently. Some music young person. So,
all right.
Let me play this clip.
Can we talk? I know it's hard. This is going to be a weird question. But did you like the Easter candy Peeps? I know one of your album covers had a peep on it.
So, and you might not have heard that as well, Nico, through Skype. But anyway, it was the voice of Little Peeps, and it said, Huff interpreted it saying, you're the one that liked it, according to Huff. And he does this with he's done it with Robin Williams and a bunch of celebs. And usually just after they die, too. I think he did Robin Williams 2 days after he died or something like that. And,
wow.
Yeah. So, if you play that response that he got backwards, it's a clip from an interview. He just took a clip from an interview, played it backwards. And I'm going to play that now.
Internet.
It's literally like a fucking weird thing. It's literally like a fucking weird thing that like leaves your brain when you die, like a
internet.
It's literally like a fucking weird thing.
So there you go. That's Steve Huff.
Oh wow!
Chopping up interviews, playing them backwards, telling you what they say backwards because they're hard to understand, obviously, because they're fucking backwards, you idiot. And then, and that's it. And everybody... I remember the Robin Williams ones. People were leaving comments, I miss him so much, it's so great that he got in contact with you, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, they're celebrities, for a lot of people, they're inspiration, and when someone famous like that dies, people will eat that up.
Yeah. And it annoys me that, I'd say annoy is maybe a strong word. Let's say it disappoints me that there's groups out there that say they're paranormal investigators and they think Steve Huff is the bee's knees and they want to build his portals and have his babies. I don't know. If you're an investigator, look at it. It's not that hard. You got the interwebs in front of you. Look at it. Take his sound samples and play with them and see what you get, because that's exactly what he's done. He's a sound engineer. So, it's not science. It's not even spirituality. It's just rip-offishness.
That's crazy. And did he respond in any kind of way to this being a fraud?
No. He's done a couple of videos about the haters and people that disrespect and hate him and oh God, and I'm just trying to offer a service.
I'm the chosen one. You don't understand.
I'm the victim. I'm the chosen one, bitch.
You don't understand.
He plays the victim. There's videos I've seen of him, and I quit watching him anymore because my blood pressure goes up. I'm gonna have a fucking heart attack if I watch him anymore. So he also does videos about how to be a sound engineer too.
Oh wow!
Which to me will be.
Then you could go on his portal.
Yeah. Like, do I have to die first before you can sound engineer me?
Oh wow!
Anyway, so Spirit Box. Now we've gone through the history. I've had my little rant.
Feel better? So do you feel better?
Woo! Shut up, Joker. Anyway, I guess what you've got to look at, what we look at with the Spirit Box, and the reason we still use it, is the theory behind it. How does it work? And to me, if ghosts can do electromagnetic energy, obviously that's what radio waves are, or they're made of that, or whatever, however you want to attack what they're made of. I had the idea that, yes, they can either use the waves that are out there, or, generate them themselves. And I still haven't made my mind up because, and Nico, you know as well as I do, sometimes we'll get normal radio with a voice over the top of it.
Yep.
And sometimes we'll get, they're kind of pieces of radio, but they're strung together in such a way that it makes sense or answers a question.
Yeah, that's the biggest one for me is, if it had been something that we used and it was just kind of a bunch of junk, things that didn't fit or random words, I would have not been interested in it at all, But when you get things like we've gotten, like at the Granger house when Adam was leaving that night, and we got Adam's leaving over the radio, and we have proof of it. We have a recording of it. That what are the chances of that? You know what I mean?
I know. And that's kind of... And that's what I go off of is odds. Once again, it's paranormal. Yeah. It's the odds define paranormal. If it's really, really, really uncommon, it might be paranormal. So,
yeah. And sometimes we get junk, but the times where you get something that is in response to your question almost immediately, the chances of that coming through at the same time you're asking that question on a radio station is just no.
Yeah,
no.
I know. And here's the other kicker is I was always torn between, so I can see the white noise voices coming through, that's using, their energy is coming through and going over the white noise, or do they need the radio stations? That's why we use AM FM, or do we use AM FM because it's easier to get pareidolia from it? So we built our own Spirit Box that it auto-tunes to strong signals, i.e. radio stations, and then it programs them. When it's done doing that, it will just jump through those. Instead of getting that, it just jumps from radio station to radio station and cuts out all that crap in the middle. So one of the reasons I like that is if it's white noise, we should not get anything.
Yeah.
So if they're manipulating radio station words, then we'll continue to get stuff. So I'm gonna play a clip here. This is what ours sounds like.
Do you have a name? Is that Tim?
This one plays through the play it.
Now, the reason I chose that clip, because I'm going to play it again in a minute, but you will hear voices saying, and we're testing it, this was in Farrar. So the first time we bought that to Farrar, and we've used the Ghost Box there before, but this is the first time we used this one at Farrar. And you can hear the words, this one plays through the player.
Yep,
now,
clear as day, too.
Yep, and I'm going to play that again for you quick.
Do you have a name? Is that Tim?
This one plays through the play it.
Which is kind of eerie. And the chances of that, I don't know.
Yeah.
What are the mathematical chances of those words being strung together in that order at that time of night, when we're there playing, it's just mind-boggling. So
yeah, that's what keeps you holding on to it. I mean, you can't ignore that,
Yeah, that's why I hate it, because it does things like that and it shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I can't explain it. And it does enter, for me, that enters into either it's the law of very big numbers that every now and then you're going to get that, but we get it quite a lot, or something is interacting with it. So, we're just going to keep using it and seeing what we get, I guess. Still use it as a tool.
It is a good tool because we've gotten things on top of that. I mean, we've gotten other recordings there, had other things happen to us personally there. So adding that in just kind of helps bring it all together. To me, I would tell someone, yes, there is something there. Whether it's a ghost, I don't know, but you can go there and you can have things happen and hear noises and pick up EVPs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think, I guess from my side, I'm not proving ghosts through it, really, because going back to our first one, proving something with an unproven, you can't really do.
Yeah.
So what I am trying to do is prove that the spirit box gives you that kind of result, and then draw our conclusions from there, I guess. But I guess what I'm trying to do is prove an anomaly in the spirit box, and then we can assume, or we can be subjective and say it might be spirits doing it. That's fine.
Well,
nothing wrong with that.
Well, and something I've thought about too is, so if something's responding to you, if you get a direct response to your question, well, how is, that something, whether you want to call it ghosts or interdimensional beings or whatever theory you want to go with, they have to be hearing you some way. How are they hearing you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Are they there too? I mean, when you think about it that way, it kind of makes it more likely to be something, like a ghost. Something that's there, that you can't see, but, I don't know. That's just me.
If you want to, you can go down that road of speculation and say, okay, they haven't got ears to hear, so we're talking. Now, what they have got is, let's say, if that's the theory we're going to go with, if they can pick up electromagnetic energies, I've got a headband that reads EEG, which we use in experiments. We use a lot more. So maybe they can pick up what you're saying through the way your brain is forming the words.
Yeah.
Now, the answer to that will be, well, why can't they talk back that way? And maybe they can for some people, hence you get psychics, which is, see, I'm not throwing them out the window. But, some people they can't talk back to, that's the only way they can try and do it. So, that's a theory, that's a workable theory. I can get a handle on that, and I can test and experiment with that. That I can live with. So, how do they work? That's the love-hate part of that. We get results from it, if you want to call them results, but how does that work? It shouldn't.
Yeah. Completely agree. It catches you. You find yourself asking, 20 more questions and with no answers, Well,
that's the thing that bothers me. A lot of times you'll ask questions and they won't give you an answer. So now you're like, now we're kind of in the land of the K2 meter. Ask lots of questions and it only goes off once or twice. Except what I have found is, yes, that happens, but when it starts chirping away, it chirps away. It's like it focuses, and it will chirp away for a while, and then you just get baloney again.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hungry now. I said baloney. I guess the next evolution of the spirit box, it seems to me, are the apps.
Yeah.
Now everyone's using apps. And I guess that's because the SB7 is so fucking hard to listen to.
To me, also, it meets a hip trend. You know what I mean? Everybody's using apps. If you want to get at the collective or the majority of people who are doing this, apps are the way to go. It's kind of the future. You know what I mean?
So you think they're doing it for, like, viewers or themselves or both? Or
yeah, viewers or themselves or downloads or, you know what I mean? You could do that with anything nowadays. You create an app and it does it. People will download it just to try it out.
But what's the theory behind the app? I guess I'm having problems with. I understand. Okay, electromagnetic. They can manipulate that. But if you keep saying that, you're saying, well, they do it because they're ghosts and it's magic.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, because apps are in binary encoded onto a chip, so how do the ghosts... I mean, the ghosts have got to be able to read binary and everything else, you know? It's not as straightforward as... See, I like radio. Radio, like you heard with Tesla, radio actually makes a sound when you put that, you know, just straight through into a speaker.
Yeah.
So that's easy for a ghost to do, although I don't understand why they have to do it across so many damn frequencies. But anyway, that side, that I can see the direct correlation to. You know, radio waves into sound, one step.
Yeah.
With apps, they have to get into the chip, read the binary, figure out how the sounds, what sounds are where, how they're made in the chip to put an output.
It just, when you break it down, it doesn't really make any sense.
It doesn't.
You know? It's kind of like that time in the shop when we did the Ghost Finder app. Remember that? And it was, it was going towards all the electrical outlets and things like that. Remember we were walking around the shop?
Yep. So it wasn't very good, was it?
No, it wasn't very good at all. You know how many people I've had, too, come up to me and go, oh, yeah, I use this app, blah, 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 blah. And I always ask, why? Why'd you use the app? Oh, I don't know. I thought it would be fun. I go, well, have you had anything happen that you would think your place would have ghosts or be haunted? Or, oh, no, I just wanted to try it. It's cool, you know. You know, so it definitely meets that crowd of, oh, it's just something fun to do.
And that's fine. I mean, it's a parlor game. The Ouija board was a parlor game. It's sold by a bloody game company. And that's fine. Where I draw the line, though, once again, if you're going to say you're an investigator, you know, before I use something, or before any true investigator uses something, they have to figure out how's this going to work, what am I actually proving with this thing going off? You know, where's the correlation there?
Yeah. What are you actually trying to do and accomplish, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if I get a result from it, what does it actually prove? And if you just say, well, it proves there was a ghost there, well, you know, you do that with anything, be honest with you. If this happens, then it's a ghost. I don't know. You know, and there's once again, though, that's a two-edged sword. I'm not going to say, all right, it's totally impossible because, and I got a clip of when we used the Spiritus apps, where it was like dead on, which was kind of creepy. But I think that's about the only time we've had it dead on of all the times we've used it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play this clip. We were in the Granger house, and we had one sitting with the Spiritus where it actually said names of people that had lived there, and then also Nico got his hand touched. So I'm gonna play that clip.
Did someone else touch my hand?
Did you say don't touch?
That was creepy.
Oh, man, I'll never forget that.
And that was the Spiritus app. And of all the times we've used it, that's the only time it's actually creeped me out. And the other thing I will say about the Spiritus that I've caught it doing, the only thing about the Spiritus that I've caught it doing is when you install it, watch very carefully if it asks for permission to use the microphone, because I've heard it say things that I have already said. And not only that, when it sometimes, because it randomizes the filters, and some filters, sometimes it doesn't use a filter. I've actually heard my own voice come out of it, because it said a word that I said, and then put it from the random filters. That one time it did it clean, and then I just heard me talking to myself from the phone. So, you know, and I know why the programmers did it that way, although they swear to God it doesn't, and that's not how it happened. But if you are in a place and you are asking questions, you are also like a mentalist giving information. So you can say, is the ghost of Sam here? And that word, you know, that's in there, and later on it will go, Sam, you know, and things like that. And it will accumulate words that, and some of them will spit out that are meaningful, and you'll be like, well, there's no reason for it to say that.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing it does when you first turn it on, I found a lot of times it will say howdy or hi, or, you know, there's a greeting really quick coming out
Hello.
of the thing. Yeah. You know, so I'm skeptical of it. That one time though was creepier than crap. So.
And that one time that we did get that, I mean, there were other tools in the room, I believe, didn't we? We had a recorder, obviously.
Yeah,
we had a camera. Yeah, and then that night we were testing another piece of equipment, and that piece of equipment was lighting up in the boys' room where my hand was outside of on the stairway. Yeah. So I mean, all of that together, you can't ignore that. You know,
and that's the whole point. Is not just one thing going off. Our goal is to have multiple things go off. When something happens. So, that's why to me the spirit box is great, because you turn it on, and a lot of times when it starts chirping as well, you got more chance of other things going off. Like, do you remember the ghost feeder going off at the Granger? We started doing, experiments. We had to go, we had those were going off. The spirit box was kind of focused and saying relevant things. So, it's a tool that we use, and it's kind of cool. I hate it because it shouldn't work, but
it shouldn't do anything.
But it does things that I can't explain, so I'm going to keep chipping away at it till either I become a total believer or I debunk it.
I mean, honestly, with all the experiences that I've had doing this so far, I mean, I don't know if I'd say I believe in ghosts, but I do believe in, there's something manipulating these objects and multiple at a time sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, anyway.
I believe ghosts are a possibility. I just don't believe they fit the narrations we have for them. So, that's what keeps me experimenting. Not just, because we're never going to prove it, be honest with you. Well, maybe one day, but I doubt it.
Well, I mean, maybe, you keep hacking at it, you have more and more stuff happen. I mean, come on, it's grown over time. Since we first started this, we've all had our own personal experiences, and we've had some together. And I mean, there's things that we've had happen that we can't deny.
Yeah, but
for me, anyway.
I know, and for me too. But on the other hand, they could be extraordinary, random something. I guess proving ghosts. All right, you can talk yourself into ghosts exist. Without really scientific evidence that you can break down and say, no, this is actual proof. There you go. Here it all is. Give it to someone and they say, yep, I can't deny that. That's what I mean. It's never going to happen. But for me, it's more of, okay, if ghosts exist, what's closer to what they are than all the narratives that we keep hearing? Because everybody's narrative is bloody different. They're this or they're that, and then you've got all their dark entities, there's demons, there's shadow men with hats, all of this stuff is out there. It's like, oh my god, okay, let's just stop and find what we find and try and draw some kind of conclusion that will give us another experiment to test it, maybe.
Yeah, try and build from that instead of building from nonsense, honestly.
Building from what?
Nonsense.
Oh, crap.
Go back to the boiler room.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, you see?
Piss off, Joker. Go back to Edinburgh. So we should be drawing this to a close slowly. We've been through the history and theory and what we think it is and why you should use it, or not. I mean, thanks for listening. And if we came across preachy, I apologize. It's just, it's the way I talk, I guess. Sometimes I'm open-minded to most things, but some stuff is just bullshit. I don't call it
nonsense.
Joker, what is it?
Bull crap.
Yeah.
I think not.
Anyway, so that's about it for me and Nico and the Joker.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once again, please leave comments. I mean, discuss it. We're open-minded. I know we're preachy sometimes, but we just want to maybe have people look at stuff, get a handle on it, so we can do those experiments and get something behind an idea.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal here.
Yeah. And once again, thanks for listening, and we're going to be signing off. You can reach us on at phantomscience.net. There's a link to our YouTube channel, which is quite new, so subscribe. and our Facebook, and also the link to our podcast list. So, yeah, feel free to engage with us and get the discussions going. Think about forming an experiment of things that you think are going on, and go away now. Find me a ghost. Bring me evidence.